Hello, what is going on, guys? Hockey Guy 1 here. Welcome to my review of The Suicide Squad. The Suicide Squad is directed by James Gunn and stars Idris Elba, John Cena, Margot Robbie, Joel Kinnaman, Sylvester Stallone. The story is about Bloodsport, who ends a daughter getting in trouble with the law and might have to be sentenced to real jail. So he ends up having to lead this team with Peacemaker, King Shark, Polka Dot Man, Ratcatcher 2 to destroy Jotunheim because of this whole starfish plan. The story is honestly alright. I mean, it's not the best, but it does have its moments. It's set up pretty well by showing he's in jail and has to talk with his daughter. It says something about how she might be going to jail, and he has to form a team with Peacemaker, King Shark, and all those guys. And it's just really a good way to set it up. I mean, it gives you a reason to care about this character and gives a much better reason for each one of them. And the second act is not perfect. It definitely does have its moments as well. It has a lot of good moments with Ratcatcher and Bloodsport specifically. Like, show them that as they show a bunch of things with scenes with them and other stuff specifically. How they go through with this whole thing and fighting through all this things just actually makes it entertaining. Really just keep you into the movie. The pacing was mostly alright in the first two acts. Again, it kind of just factors in the same things I said earlier with the story and the structure. It's just that those are the most engaging parts when you're actually with the whole squad. It just keeps you into it. I really did find Bloodsport to be a really interesting character. They gave you a reason to care for him by having this whole thing with his daughter and how he cares about her enough that he would lead this mission that he doesn't really want to. He doesn't feel like he's suited to be a leader just because he doesn't want her to go to jail. And it's a pretty smart way to do it because, and again, it gives you a reason to care for him. You can see he cares about her a lot. Plus, they actually do a good amount of things with his whole fear of rats, and that's a pretty interesting character trait that they add to him that they actually explore a lot more. And they have a lot of scenes where it shows him being afraid of rats, but then by the end, because of all of his relationships with like Ratcatcher 2 and liking him in the end, really overcame the fear, which is actually a really interesting character development that they gave him with that. It does show a lot of the time in the movie how he's afraid of them, and he does overcome it, and he changes over time with it because of Ratcatcher 2, really telling more about what exactly is important about rats and why she kind of is that, and it really is a good way to kind of show his character, which kind of does bring me into Ratcatcher 2, and it's another character I really liked in this movie, and show a lot of her backstory, and give you, again, a reason to care for her, and it's actually a pretty interesting backstory, because it shows it with her father, and why she cares about rats, and why they mean something to her, and it's a good way to kind of show that, and show that she does have a relationship with her father in the past, and exactly why she has this power and cares about them, even to the point where she kind of like goes in with Bloodsport to get him to like rats. Backstory does really work for her character and gives you a reason to care for her. The acting is really good. Idris Elba did a really good job as Bloodsport, as he did really feel confident in his role. His lines just sounded like the character and he's into it, and the other sentence about like Sylvester Stallone did seem like he was into and having fun as King Shark, and same thing with Margot Robbie. She did sound like she was having fun this way, not exactly having that lines. She's trying the role and does feel like the character. It be said about John Cena as Peacemaker, just really sounded confident. He's into it. You can just see that he wants, you can tell he's into it. The action is pretty good. I mean, most of the time you do get into it. I mean, just the way it is, it just gets you really into it. It's just really intense. I mean, a lot of the gore that they add in it just makes it even more intense than what it would be. And like PG-13 movie, as it's just really how the action is. It makes it more intense. The cinematography is really good. They did a good job showing the camera angles, just using it for what they are. I mean, when they show characters' emotions, it works. Other times, there's a really good amount of close-ups showing the characters' emotions. It works for that moment. And just on the action scene specifically, they did a pretty good job with stuff like that, and as well as just specifically showing like the landscape of it mostly. And another thing is like they were teaming with a slow motion gunshot with two characters, and it's just pretty cool. I mean, they did a good job with that cinematography and that. I mean, slow motion work there, and that also kind of like goes in the editing. That was kind of like edited well. This movie mostly is edited well. Another thing, the lighting is actually really good. I mean, you're gonna see what's going on now, and just actually do a good job with it. The visual effects are really good. Especially like the CGI on King Shark, it does look really convincing. Most of the CGI in this actually does look pretty convincing. It looks pretty realistic most of the time, and pretty much everything that they make it look convincing and make it look realistic, and pretty much everything like getting really King Shark's design and as well as just like the explosions and stuff like that. It look pretty realistic and is the pretty convincing things like that starfish thing. They actually made it look pretty convincing with the movie. The costume's really good. The one that stands out to me the most was Peacemaker's. I mean, it looks almost exactly like his costume, and actually gives you the feel like it's actually that character. And on Harley Quinn actually definitely had their best costume in all DCU so far, which isn't really saying much. As in this one, I actually sort of got the Harley Quinn feeling. As in this one, she is wearing black and red mostly, so it actually does, in a way, give you more of a Harley Quinn feeling. She's this crazy person who wears black and red. So, with that said, this movie does have its problems. Specifically, a lot of the times in the second end, like Harley Quinn's whole thing, that I feel like that could have been cut out, really. I mean, Harley Quinn could have really been left out because, I mean, I don't really feel like they knew much about her to begin with. I mean, she wasn't a part of the original mission, and I don't really know why they would care about her that much enough to try and rescue her. That's the thing about that. It's a pretty elaborate plan that ends up just turning into a joke, really. And that's the issue at this movie. A lot of the times when Harley Quinn on screen, they try and turn everything into a joke. I mean, it's just her getting captured, her going out and killing this one person, and then getting captured again. And it's just, I feel like it's just really boring. They could have done something else with that. I mean, it just makes the movie drag along a lot more. It just makes it not exactly as fun because, again, it's that those parts rely a lot on its humor. But the issue here is that I didn't really like a lot of her humor, so it didn't really hit with me. So obviously I'm gonna really find those annoying. And then there's the third act, which I felt like was really dragged out. I mean, I feel like they could have done better with it just because, I mean, fighting is fun and like when it goes on for as long as this fight, then it just really got repetitive and kind of a lot more boring, really. I mean, it just felt like it was dragging out because the movie needed to be longer, and it's about it. I mean, it just really got less entertaining the longer and longer it went because it just really felt like it went on for way too long. I wasn't a fan of Harley Quinn's character once again. There's just not really much to her character. She's just crazy, and characters like that really relies on you finding the character funny, which I didn't exactly find her jokes funny, to say the least. So in that case, I'm just not gonna like the character. So it just makes her really annoying for her to be funny, and as that is basically one of her like two personality traits they give her. So her other character trait isn't exactly enough to carry it over that. I kind of feel the same way about King Shark, because I guess, like, the first couple times he sort of got a chuckle out of me, but I'm being honest, like, a lot of what his jokes become just get really repetitive, so it gets really annoying, because he doesn't really have much jokes to say, so a lot of what he says are just jokes, and a lot of them I don't really find funny besides the first couple times, because a lot of them do get repeated a lot, so it do annoy me, and just they get less funny to me as the more and more he has them. Yeah, and it's because that's really his only personality trait. It makes it really hard for me to like him. Peacemaker isn't exactly an awful character, but he could have been much better than what he was. I mean, I do kind of think that he had a lot of potential. I mean, I like how they introduced him as like this kind of whole person who goes against Bloodsport because they both shoot things, bullets, and they have a lot of banter with each other, stuff like that. I mean, he was set up well, but my issue with him is that we acted in the third act specifically. I felt like that out of place with his character. I don't really see why he would want to do that to Flag and Rap character too in these scenes because of his mission, but at the same time, I mean, I don't really understand why he would want to go after his own teammates over that. It really makes sense because he was actually kind of forming a bond with them in a way and actually feeling like a team. So I don't really understand why he'd want to go after his own teammates even for something like that. It just felt really out of place in the movie and doesn't really give a good enough reason for it to really feel convincing. The only thing with the editing I didn't really like was that one thing where like they were all walking up into a slow motion shot. I wasn't really a big fan of that because it just doesn't really feel very effective to me. I mean, there's something about it just doesn't feel very effective walking into it, and it's just a slow motion them walking. And that just doesn't feel effective, just like it's not that kind of slow motion really to me isn't exactly the most effective thing in the world because it's just slow motion of them walking into an action scene. But other than that, really, the editing was just fine. So overall, the Suicide Squad isn't exactly my favorite, but it is still significantly better than a certain 2016 Suicide Squad movie, and it's just an alright movie overall. So I'm gonna give the Suicide Squad a 6 out of 10. That was my review of the Suicide Squad. What are your thoughts on the Suicide Squad? Tell me in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.